In the silence before a clash, historical outcomes are often decided in the minds of the commanders before a single blow is struck. Winning or losing begins with how a leader evaluates the field when the stakes are at their highest. On the plain of Kurukshetra, we find this tension in its purest form. Two massive armies stand frozen in formation, separated by a stretch of dust, waiting for the signal to begin a war of survival. Surveying the scene is warlord Duryodhana. He commands the larger force, and from his vantage point, he begins an assessment for his senior generals. Historically, this address is interpreted as a standard display of confidence. On the surface, it sounds like a commander reciting the reasons for his inevitable victory. His speech is captured in 2 Sanskrit verses. They provide a detailed breakdown of his army's hierarchy, mentioning specific leaders and the military hardware at their disposal. But a forensic look at the language in these verses suggests a different reality. The specific words he chooses reveal a gap between the image he projects and his actual state of mind. These verses act as a psychological leak. They document the exact moment a leader's outward confidence begins to erode from within. Under extreme pressure, the subconscious often dictates word choice. These linguistic tells offer a window into a person's focus that their intentional rhetoric might try to hide. This is visible in the first verse, where Duryodhana describes his heroes as ma arte tyakta jivita, literally, those who have given up their lives for my sake. This is a sharp departure from typical leadership rhetoric, where a confident commander focuses on survival and the spoils of victory. Duryodhana's language is anchored in the concept of sacrifice and death. Before the first arrow is loose, his mind has jumped to the end state of the battle, mass casualties. He is already rationalizing the loss of the men standing before him. In the same breath, he shifts to an inventory of his various weapons and his soldiers' skills in warfare. This is a psychological defense. When faced with an emotional or existential threat, the mind often retreats into material metrics, counting weapons and reviewing resumes to suppress internal anxiety. By focusing on his army's willingness to die and their technical gear, Duryodhana reveals that he is trying to convince himself of his own strength rather than inspiring his men. This internal struggle becomes even more apparent in the second verse, where Duryodhana directly compares his force to the enemy. First, he identifies his own supreme commander, the undefeated patriarch Bhishma. On an organizational chart, Bhishma sits at the very top of the hierarchy. To measure his strength, Duryodhana compares Bhishma to a warrior on the opposing side named Bhima. This is a military mismatch. Bhima is not the commander-in-chief of the opposing army. He is a mid-tier officer. The reason for the error is personal. Bhima is a powerhouse who had previously sworn a blood oath to kill Duryodhana specifically. Duryodhana's strategic analysis is shaped by his own trauma. He is not seeing the enemy's actual command structure. He is seeing his own nightmares. By treating a personal threat as the supreme enemy commander, Duryodhana effectively announces his deepest fear to everyone listening. These verses provide a psychological record of a commander under pressure. The opening of the Bhagavad Gita serves as a study in how character is revealed through stress and vocabulary. It shows that even with numerical superiority and the best generals in the world, material advantages cannot compensate for an insecure mindset. This ancient leak mirrors modern behavior, how we often lean on titles and tools to mask the feeling that we are unprepared for the task at hand. True strength is internal. When a person overemphasizes their material advantages, they are often providing a map of their own insecurities.